I mean, either way, you know, hey man, I feel like 80% of your background is better than, 100% of it. So, I mean, at least your hands are blurred. I don't know why, they just are.
Yeah, I think they made it worse.
It's like
whatever.
they're like selecting your hands, and they're like, no, blur those out. We don't know what that is.
Oh, that's too sexual. What could that be?
Oh my god. Yeah, man. How have you been, dude? It's been a minute since we got a podcast going.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were ever gonna podcast again, to be honest.
I know. I mean,
And, vibing.
yeah, like lots and lots of things just have happened that kind of had made it so we did not podcast.
New Year's.
Catastrophes.
Not podcasting.
Yeah, catastrophes, unpreparedness, all the above.
Yeah. as usual. Pretty much no gaming news to follow up on as well. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
we could just like shit on the Skull and Bones calling themselves a quadruple A title.
Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
You're going god nut.
That Ubisoft game.
Oh, I don't know. I actually haven't seen it, but I'll have to check that out. Is it a horrible looking game? Is it trash?
I mean, it's a game that's been in development hell for a while. Like, it started off as like this pirate sim, and then it turned into just like a ship versus ship battle, and then it turned into like a group of ships, and you play with your friends. And then now we're finally getting the final version, which is like a cross between the full-on ship battle and grouping with your friends. But now you can only group with like 3 people. So, quadruple A title.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was terrible.
It just sounds like you should play Sea of Thieves.
The whole internet just crapping on them. Pretty much.
Yeah. So, but what gaming news we can talk about is that Tekken 8 though.
That Tekken 8 though, right?
Yeah, right.
This blur's not really working out.
I know. But side tangent. Welcome to the Backlog podcast number 66.
There's my messy ass room. It's fine.
Matt.
Quintessence.
And today we're going to do our big Tekken 8 review. I think we're going to go over it, like mostly our experiences, thoughts, things that could be changed or improved about the game overall. And
then a final rating.
Yeah, of course, a final rating. So, like, within these first 2 weeks, what has been your kind of experience with the game overall?
Server instability.
Oh. Yes. Yeah, that's
been the majority of my experience, unfortunately. Like, I don't know, man. I guess they weren't ready for an influx of players. Hard.
I mean, do we know if this is actually like full on rollback netcode?
I don't think it's full on rollback. It seems like it's still like that kind of like hybrid that we had in Tekken 7, but like more fine tuned, because it's definitely better netcode. You've noticed it's better netcode because like I'll play with people that I attempted to play with in 7 and that shit just was not gonna work. But then I tried in 8 and it actually was playable. Yeah, so like they did something, and I hope they continue to like tweak it and bring it up to par, because it's just it's not good enough for like the current like scape for netcode, right? Like you compare it to Strive or Street Fighter and stuff like that, and it's just like, oh, this is, I mean, those games I could play with anyone in the world and it's playable. Tekken, I'm still pretty firmly relegated to staying in the US. Like, I try to play someone in Europe, it's not really going to work very well. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think, you know, especially like the first day, there was lots of crashing, and
for sure.
You know, games were all over the place, and they still kind of are. I don't know if it still is this way, but I know like certain stages were like giving your computer fits in terms of being able to play on them, like that. What is it? The Warzone stage where like I don't know what it's called. Siege, yeah, it's called Siege, and that literally dropped our frame rate to like 30 FPS.
Tanks and helicopters and explosions. And you're just like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's not necessary.
I don't know if it like necessarily like I had that problem again. I think we could test it again. And I think it would be fine. At least that's my theory. But at least initially,
I think it's when you play on it multiple times, it has some kind of like memory leak or something going on. Because I noticed like when I play on it like for the first time in the day, it's fine, and then it gets like progressively worse the more and more times it queues up.
Yeah,
so that could be something.
I would also say like connectivity with console is like a crapshoot overall. Like if I play, like I've noticed that if I play anybody on like a console on Wi-Fi, my God, it is always horrible.
Yeah.
Like it says 5 bars, but that is like 3 and below, like guaranteed.
Yeah, I'll accept like the 5 bar, and then it's like bouncing between 1 and 5, and it's just like, huh, okay. I mean, I was kind of ready for something like this, but not to this extreme. And then they don't seem to have any issues at all. Like, they're doing like full combos and stuff, and you're just like, have you just adapted to dog shit internet, or
yeah,
or is it fine on your side and just trash for me? I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it has something to do with that, the console to PC connectivity. I mean, I don't know for sure. I will say that a lot of times where like I will get one and done by a console connection as well. Like always a console player that I get one and done by, because I think there's just something about that connection that just maybe it's on their side where it's like, oh hell no, I'm not playing this again.
Oh hell no. Yeah, I have no clue what's going on. Like it's pretty disappointing. It's definitely one of like the lowest points for Tekken 8, but you know, at least we have crossplay. Mortal Kombat's still waiting for that shit, right? Like,
that's true.
They had it in beta and then lost it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I think it also just goes to show how hard crossplay is to actually implement in a fighting game series, and
especially 3D apparently.
Yeah, 3D. You know, the 3D fighting games, like, I mean, I've heard, I was watching Max, and, you know, he was saying, you know, rollback is just kind of like, you get what you get, and it works with, like, some things better than others. And then, you know, he was just saying, like, 3D, and it's a 3D game, it's going to be really difficult to, like, because I don't think I've actually ever played a 3D fighting game with rollback netcode. I've never played one. This is the first. I think this is the first one I've ever played.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if any of them exist.
And we still don't have true like full rollback either. So.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just like not super feasible right now for 3D with so much stuff to keep track of. I don't know. Maybe that's like the thing.
Absolutely. So.
2D, you know, you got that one plane. 3D is just like. You got to keep track of everything.
Yeah,
all positions.
There's a lot.
That's why people teleport around. Like if you have it set to performance, like so that you're always getting like low input latency and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'll see people like teleport around in lower connections, and you're like, okay.
Is there any way to stop that, or because I
mean, you could turn up your input delay by like going to the quality over performance. in the rollback settings.
Oh my god, yeah, I don't know if I would want to do that.
It defaults to like neutral or something like that. It's like between the quality and the performance. Maybe that's the play, but I like crisp inputs.
Yeah. I don't like the teleporting. I'll say that. Because especially when you're trying to play footsies with somebody and they're shimmying and the shimmying is like teleporting, I can't do it. I can't do it, man.
I feel that. I feel that so hard.
Because it's like, okay, so how am I supposed to figure out if they're, you know, are they close now? Are they too close? Should I throw out a button here? You know, and then it's just kind of, it's a crapshoot. But
yeah.
At
least the teleporting's pretty rare in my experience. Like I haven't really noticed the teleporting unless the connection's like real bad. Like you're fighting like a 3-bar Wi-Fi or something, and then like boop 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 boop, you know, and then Law's all of a sudden on top of you and you're dead.
Junkyard.
Yeah, junkyard.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it was a junkyard. Couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell. Okay, so like obviously the internet, the netcode is just kind of like, you know, it's all over the place, definitely. But what I'm wondering is, how do you, now that we actually have the full game, and you know it feels pretty good, how do you feel about the gameplay itself and how the heat system has played into Tekken as a whole?
I feel like I'm still struggling to grasp the heat system. Like there's times when I know I should like press the heat button and like do it like in a combo or something like that, but I just don't, because like, so I don't have this in Tekken 7. So like I think the heat system still needs like a lot of work personally, because right now it's just free pressure. Like when someone's in heat, like Devil Jin for example, right? Devil Jin's in heat, you're just not allowed to play the game for a bit. Like you're just blocking and praying, maybe like throwing out like some kind of big counter hit or something like that to possibly fish for, but like for the most part you're just like locked down, because he has so many like more options in heat that you can't afford to really aggress on him. And quite a bit of the cast has that going as well. Yeah. Which creates, I don't know, like almost a feeling of hopelessness. I guess I want to say. Like, especially if you're at a wall, you're just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna hold this, I'm gonna pray, maybe I'll, you know, read right on the 50/50 they get for free after they heat smash, after they've been in heat for, you know, whatever time. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. And I think that's only going to get worse as people get better at using heat. So, I don't know. It feels super oppressive. What are your thoughts, though?
I personally like it. I think it's good. I can understand the point of the heat system, like maybe people pop heat and then they're sort of like plus in all these situations. I think they honestly underutilized it for some characters.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, some characters are just blessed by the heat gods.
Yeah, like here's my thing, right? For example, Fang, right? I'm playing Fang in Tekken 8. And I think they could have done certain things to make, you know, popping heat to have more incentive, right, with him, because honestly it feels like there's not much. Like he has the ability to, like, you know, wall bounce and then get a palm after it or something like that. That's one of the things. Like in general, I feel like palm should have been turned into a mid, like a high mid. That would have been dope. You know, hey man, give me that cheap shit, okay? Like, give me. I'm like,
I hate everything you just said.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that.
Oh my god!
Like, because in 7 he had his back one, right? Was a mid, wasn't it?
No, it was a high.
Okay, someone told me it was a mid, or I think I was talking to somebody.
Oh.
Anyway, my bad. But Like I would
It's a high, and at the end it was -10 on block.
Okay, so it's still -10. So
yeah, it's still -10.
Like, okay, I look at it sort of like Geese, right? With Geese Howard, when you activated his max mode, his like parry, he began to be able to parry mids as well, right? So he was like, I think he parried lows, he parried mid, and so it like covered the gambit. You didn't have to like switch between 1 and 2, I believe. Certain things like that where there was like an incentive to actually use his max mode. Like things where I think like a character should be buffed and incentivized to use it, like when it really matters. And in the game so far as I can tell, you're gonna have about 2 options while using max mode. It's either to 3. You can either armor through something, or you can use it as a combo extender, and then obviously to like add pressure. The problem is you're playing Tekken. So when you pressure through, 9 times out of 10, your mix gets stuffed, or your pressure is going to get stuffed. People are going to block it. I honestly feel like there's no sort of huge threat to the heat drive, or whatever the hell it's called, the heat engager. Unless you land it, it's basically just a way of saying, get off me. You know what I mean? That's just me. I mean, maybe...
there's the heat activate, which is the little power armor thing that you're talking about. The heat engager is actually the one where you like do a certain move and then you go into heat, like in the neutral.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And those are actually pretty damn strong, because usually you're coming out like +17 and you're just like, okay, I can do whatever the hell mix I want out of this. And some characters really like thrive from that, while others are pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like,
I just wish that like I would personally like to have seen like some guaranteed combos out of it. But I know that might be a little too OP a lot of times.
I mean, so the only like guaranteed combos I've seen is like sometimes you have like when you're in heat, you have a move that normally isn't a launcher, but in heat you get like the heat dash afterwards, and then it becomes an actual launcher, which I feel is a pretty cool like interaction. So you just spend all the heat you have to dash in and get your combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall heat is going to wind up being used more for combo extension than it will anything else.
Probably.
Probably. or using it to deal with certain characters' annoying ass combos that you don't, or strings that you don't want to deal with. Like that's what I use it for. Like just certain things where it's like, people just keep pressing buttons in your face and you're like, all right, well, I need to shut this down before he gets out of hand. But you also have to realize you really only can do that once or twice and in a row, and you kind of have to pick and choose when you use heat in a round.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like that's the idea of heat is, and in my opinion, and I don't know if you agree with this, but essentially the heat system is there to like say, all right, you don't get to be lazy and... Oh, Madcrab, thank you for the follow, man. Much appreciated. You don't get to be lazy in neutral anymore. You know what I mean? You can actually push the pace of things and try to force like someone who's more experienced than you to actually play the game of Tekken instead of them just, moving back and forth, dashing forward, blocking, and then moving at a footsie range, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think Harada wasn't a big fan of that aspect of professional Tekken, and that's kind of why we have the heat system in general, is to like force that aggression, those hype moments, if you will.
Yeah. Because
really push the envelope.
Because who wants to play a game where the entire time someone's just trying to bait you out? Trying to lame you out with dash blocking.
That's been Tekken for a while, so I guess Tekken players?
Yeah. Yeah, longtime Tekken players would want that. I just sort of, I don't know if that would be for.
They whiff, I punish, I win.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, man? Do you feel like the heat system has kind of accomplished its goal? Do you think it's good for Tekken 8, or would you rather see it implemented in a different way?
I think we need more time with it, but I do think it probably lasts too long. It feels like it goes pretty much forever unless you have a character that like uses a bunch of heat when they use their special moves. Like Claudio gets to use starburst moves when he's in heat, right? But he uses a chunk of his heat gauge every time, so Claudio's heat generally won't last that long when you're fighting against him.
Yeah.
But some characters can really like elongate their heat duration, like Lee. When he does certain moves, he actually gains more heat time. Or who was it else that did that?
Ling? Didn't Ling have like a bug or something like that extended her?
No, Ling, I think when she goes into her hypno stance or whatever, she like regenerates a little bit of heat. Yeah, the one where she's just kind of like, just like walking around you. Then the wind starts to form, and then you're mixed. Yeah, that one. Right.
So, I mean, I kind of really feel like it's they definitely went in the right direction with the heat system. I feel like it fits Tekken a lot better, and it makes it more of an interesting game than 7 in some ways. And I think I might like this better than 7 right now. I mean,
Okay.
7 might feel like home to you, though.
I mean, I'm open to like the new stuff, right? But 7 did kind of feel like home, but also the home was kind of like infested with rats named Kunimitsu, Noctis, and Nakuma, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to move into a new place without those rats.
Yes.
You know.
Don't forget. Did you say geese too?
No, I didn't say geese, but geese was in there too.
Yeah, he's infested with geese. He was in the walls. He
was in the walls, honking at you, bastard.
Yeah. Even though, hey man, it feels like everybody's kind of a Goose Howard now, in a way.
In some ways, yeah. I mean, like I was saying before, some characters are really like blessed in their heat mode, and others just don't get a huge amount from it.
Yeah.
Like Lee. Lee's super blessed in his heat mode. You know those really difficult frame perfect moves that he can do? They just work. You just dial him in heat mode and he just does them. No execution required.
Well, man.
Mishima's all electrics, all the way down. Freaking weird.
Actually, it feels like, I'll say this, it does feel like inputs in general have been made easier in this version of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've simplified a lot of inputs and like moved other inputs around. Like one of the most annoying inputs for Leo's like combo enders was back, forward, 1+2, 1+2, quarter circle forward 2. And so you'd have to run up and then do that input, but in your run up you had to make sure that you were in the frames where you were able to do inputs properly with the stop, but then you still also had to pick it up. But now you literally just run up and press back 1+2, 1+2, 1+2, and you're done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. You can still add the quarter circle forward 2 for blue sparks if you want, though. Feeling special. Like, yeah, things have definitely been like simplified, but I feel like in a good direction for the most part. I know, purists will be like, my Tekken, now those like freaking newbies can do cool stuff. Yeah, they can. Like, welcome to fighting games in the current year.
Yeah, you actually have to deal
more accessible. You're not going to be able to gatekeep forever.
Yeah. This honestly feels like going from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5 in a lot of ways. Where,
yeah, definitely.
Where like this
very similar vibe.
The skill kind of is like, it's not just a footsies game anymore. You know, I mean, it is. I mean, but in the way that, like, yeah, now other people can get in, it's more accessible to more people, which I think is a great thing. I think that's probably its strongest attribute. I didn't think Tekken 8 was going to be able to pull that off as well as it did, but goddamn, is it a fun ass game?
There's some slightly murky stuff, but yeah, for the most part, pretty good. Pretty damn good. Like the instant electrics, not cool. Not freaking cool. Have you seen that?
No.
So if you have simplified controls on, right? Like the easy inputs.
Okay.
You can just press one button and do an electric. And so what people have been practicing is having that button accessible and be like, pop up electric, pop up electric, pop up electric, and then like turning it off and then playing normally, pop up electric. And it comes out frame perfect with one button press.
Wow. Same damage?
Same damage.
What?
Frame perfect.
What? You're kidding me.
It's pretty funny.
What the hell? I think I was watching Ring Pop play the other day, and he literally had somebody that, like, he was playing against, and it, like, in the middle of the game, they just, like, you see them turn on, like, the special controls to command grab him. And he got so mad.
That's funny.
He's streaming and he's just yelling at this man, calling him a complete scrub because he had to turn on special controls to be able to command grab him, and it was freaking hilarious.
I wonder if you can like do an instant input like King Giant swing or something like that with those.
I feel like that's gotta be, if they're doing electrics, it's gotta be, man. It's gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just electrics. There's like some other moves that I can't remember off the top of my head, but like people were like kind of exploring that. They're like, if this is legal in tournaments, I'm just gonna learn how to kind of like plink these and call it a day.
Yeah. That man, there's got to be something done about that. That is absurd. They're like, you know how
crazy.
people were
they
using
should get slower or something, like something
less damage, something
less
like
damage,
that.
Slow. I'd prefer slower frames, like that. An instant electric, you're just like bop, bop, instant electric, bop, instant electric.
Right.
No execution required whatsoever.
Well, yeah. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? That is insane. And that's
I think it was like an oversight because it's usually like a specialty move. So like when you break it down, you have the specialty move, like the launcher, the grab, and then the low or whatever, the low and then the grab, whatever. For some reason, electrics in the launcher. So it just does like the perfect electric, just done, easy peasy. And then some other characters have the specialty move where, Dragunov. Dragunov, you can plink it like that and get an instant well running too. Because that's a specialty move.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so fun little things like that, which definitely won't be a problem in the pro scene whatsoever. Nope, not at all.
I feel like that should be banned.
I agree.
That sounds like that should be banned. They should
have to leave it on or have it off completely.
That honestly also sounds like they should take it out of ranked as well. Like maybe player matches, but I don't think.
I mean, there's a lot of other changes I need to see to ranked before that even happens, like some kind of penalty for people plugging.
They're disconnecting from a match.
Yeah, currently there doesn't seem to be any penalty.
Like, zero. So there's no jail yet.
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any at all. And somebody discovered on PlayStation that you can do a plug with absolutely zero consequences. It just completely ends the match instantaneously. Where if you go to your trophies, and there's trophies for Arcade Quest, and you click the Arcade Quest, it'll just teleport you into Arcade Quest from anywhere in the game. So like, there's just some weird crap going on with Tekken 8.
You heard it here first. You can find your scumbag tactics at the Backlog podcast.
Right? Yes. Special mode electric, special mode instant while running twos, teleporting into Arcade Quest from any versus mode. Yeah, nope. Those are all things you can do and ruin games real quick, Ski.
Yeah. Like, oh man, like I feel, I literally, the first thing I did when I started playing was I turned off the special button. I'm pretty sure. Yep. I was like, what is this crap? Mine. I was like, what is this crap? No, I'm not using that.
Unfortunately, when you start the story mode, you're locked into the special mode. And so I didn't have that even bound. I was like, crap, I have to rebind it to turn it off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So I might have actually played through the story mode with that on then. I might have.
If there was a little box on the side.
There wasn't. Though, okay. It honestly, at some point, it felt like it was just on. Like when you became... Yeah.
When you switched move styles, like... I felt that when I was playing as Deviljin in the story.
Yes. Yep.
I was just hammer on some buttons, seeing what shit does, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a combo. I'm like, I didn't do a combo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm flattered, game, but I didn't do a combo there.
For sure. So, is there like any kind of like other gameplay things that you want to address before we move on? Because I was thinking we could jump right into the story now that we kind of.
I feel like there's a huge gap right now between the really good characters and just the good characters.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Jack 8 and Azucena and Dragunov and June, probably Jin, they're all just like up here in like video game heaven, and then the rest of the filthy peasants are like way down below.
I mean, I feel like Victor's...
I'm probably missing someone.
I feel like Victor's in there.
I don't know if he is. I feel like he's just like a really MASH-friendly character, and as you learn like his strings, he becomes like less of an issue.
I feel like his teleport gimmicks are annoying to deal with.
That's fair. Have you fought a Master Raven? Just a Raven? Not a Master Raven. A Raven? No. He's got some annoying shit. I'm glad I've only seen like 3, because those clones, I can't even see what's going on. Like, a clone comes out and then he's rushing in on me at the same time, and I'm just wondering what's happening. And like the clone's like obscuring him, and all of a sudden hit with a low. I'm like, it's a tilter.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Some characters are just extremely blessed in this game, and others are kind of like left to rot. Like Jack 8, his heat smash, 10 frames. We have variable heat smash frames.
Yeah. I think Victor's
Jack
heat smash is also really good. So Jack 8 can use
his heat smash as a 10 frame punish. Whoops, I whiffed my jab. I guess I'm gonna eat like 70 damage. I don't know.
I think Victor's heat smash is also like 8 frames, if I remember correctly.
No, it's not. I saw the frames listed. I think his was like a 15 or so.
His forward like 1+2?
No, it's talking about heat smash.
Oh, I'm talking about a heat engager. I'm talking about heat engager. My bad. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying now.
I don't really know his frames on his.
His heat engager is 8 frames.
Mash is like a 14 or 15 frame or something like that. But it's also ridiculous low that just chops your ankles, and then he goes into his anime cutscene.
Yeah.
He's flying around and chopping you up. So
I mean, I don't know. I just kind of got like annoyed with him, just watching him heat smash people in the face like for free, or heat engage people in the face, like they just stand there. You can't jab on him at all. He wants you to, because he's so damn linear. But anyway, yeah, that Jack 8 that Jack 8 thing that's pretty crazy. Having that be 10 frames.
That's not all for Jack 8.
Oh boy,
right?
tell me more.
Jack 8. Okay, sure, I will.
Okay.
Jack 8's rage art. He punches the ground. Like he does like this overhead swing and it hits ground. So you can do back 1-2 and that knocks them to grounded and immediately follow the rage art, and that is guaranteed.
Wait, say that. What move is knocking people down?
Back 1-2.
Back 1-2.
It's like, yeah, he just like bomb and then just knocks your ass down, right? If he follows with a rage art, it hits you on the ground guaranteed.
So do you have to block that as a low?
No, it's just back 1-2 is a natural combo. So it's back 1-2 rage art.
So he just kind of can just do it.
He just punches you on the ground and it goes into the rage art animation. Just you have to hold that.
Oh, damn! I think
Jack's got some degenerate shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but whatever. 10 frame heat smash and guaranteed rage art.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like
heat smashes should have been like more closely grouped together. Like Zafina has a 12 frame heat smash, and then there's other characters like Lily's heat smash is 23 frames.
23 frames?
23.
Oh, so it's
the
trash.
Slowest one in the game. It's the slowest one in the game. The only like redeeming quality of it is she kind of like does like a jump into the air with it, so it crushes lows.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. Heat smashes are not all
created equal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some pretty. Wow, that sounds wild. It needs some balancing.
Her heat smash is still good because of like the low crushing qualities, and it goes like decently far. But the startup on it is so slow. It's hard to use it outside of just like throwing that shit out in the neutral for plus frames. Whereas, Jack's punishing with his, Afina's comboing with hers, June is comboing with hers, etc. Because June's is like 13 frames.
Yeah.
Like the normal frames-ish for like the heat smashes is between like 14 and 16, and then you have like the outliers going up and the outliers going way down.
I'm not gonna lie.
Lily all the way at the bottom.
I think I should have done my homework on this because I just assumed they were all around 15 frames.
I did too, until I saw a very helpful chart.
Okay, so
which I could send you.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that, and maybe we'll actually include it in the description of the podcast if anybody wants to check that out, or the YouTube video.
Useful.
So yeah, that's nuts. It sounds like this is, but we're like in the Wild West phase of Tekken.
We are,
and this is like, I know I've heard
we're definitely version 1.
We're version 1. Yeah, I've heard Ring Pop compare it to like season 1 of Tekken 7 in terms of like broken stuff. That too.
But nobody compares it to like the arcade of Tekken 7. So I guess we're doing better than that. Man, Vanilla Tekken 7's weird. I went back and played that. I saw like launching hatchet kicks and stuff. I'm like, nope, this wasn't it. This wasn't it, Chief.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to play it at because I have a round 1 near me, and they just have Vanilla Tekken 7 there. They never updated it.
Damn, that's awesome. It's horrific, but awesome.
It's because for whatever reason, they don't have any of their. So it's a Nessica cap. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. So Nessica are like kind of like the standard candy cabs that are in Japan. They're like, you'll see them everywhere. Essentially, those are mostly connected to the internet, which you would then like you could update your games over the web, and then you know you have the arcade version ready to go. Well, none of these cabs are connected to the internet. They are all older versions of fighting games. So the problem is like now we're on Tekken 8, right? Well, they have like, I don't know, like version 1 of Tekken 7, but they're not bothering to go through because they don't like, nobody cares about the fighting games, right? Like, yeah. You know,
those aren't being played.
I was playing, I think the craziest thing is I was playing like Third Strike in widescreen mode in like, which okay. I don't know if you have ever seen Third Strike, but it's in 4:9. I think it might be 4:3. I can't remember the aspect ratio of like a tube television. So think of like that 4:3. Okay, so think about that, but then they stretched it by 16:9. So like,
that sounds so weird.
It is weird. So like instead of playing it in the correct aspect ratio and just having like bars on the side, they just have like, they're like, screw it, stretch it out, man. And yeah, it's so strange. So and it like, you know, stretch those pixels, baby. But either way,
nasty.
Either way, you know, it's sort of like little things like that. But I hope they have Tekken 8. I know they had like Street Fighter 5 there, like in, you know, when they released those cabs. Like
there's Tekken 8 cab.
I don't know.
I was almost convinced there wasn't going to be one.
They'll definitely. I mean, like there's a Street Fighter 5 cab.
Yeah, but is there Street Fighter 6?
I don't know. I mean, I think the Street Fighter 5 cab came later, but they definitely like. I mean, arcade culture exists in Japan still, so I mean, we can only hope. I mean, I would love.
I feel like graphically the cabs are gonna be just too damn expensive, because like Tekken 8, for example, only runs on PS5/Xbox Series X or whatever the hell they're on. Xbox One Series X. I don't know Xbox stuff. The latest Xbox.
I mean, it would be really cool if they did. I mean, I might just pop in there, like, because I literally work in the same building as the round one. So I think while I'm, you know, at work this week,
glance, see if they have a Street Fighter 6 and a Tekken 8.
Yeah, I think while I'm at work this week, I think I'm gonna go on my lunch break. I think I'm gonna go walk over to the arcade and just, you know, play a bit of fighting games.
What about Metal Slug? Play some Metal Slug.
You know what's crazy? They don't have any like Neo Geo games there, which is insane. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like Tekken Tag 2. They've got in a 4-player Tekken Tag 2 cab, like where you can have 4 people sit on both sides and be teams and stuff like that.
Okay.
The only problem is it's like all the instructions are all in Japanese. So like, you know, you have to like work your way through that for the most part, but I mean, it's still pretty fun. I tried to get like 4 people to play Tekken Tag 2 before, but we really couldn't figure it out. I don't know if they're connected properly. Yeah.
That's wild.
I also like I'm going on a huge tangent about this one arcade, but like I think I played like Marvel 2, and then like as I was playing, I was like telling this guy how to like clean arcade buttons and stuff like that, and he got really angry at me. He's like, you know, okay, buddy, you know, like because I like called him over and I was like,
them dirty.
I like them dirty. It's like, oh yeah, we'll fix it, and it's like, yeah, but it like ate my quarter. Now I can't play because this button's broken. It doesn't matter. But anyway,
it was held down by finger sludge.
Somebody put peanut butter in the coin slot.
Oh.
I honestly, they use cards now, but I've heard stories where people put like peanut butter in like coin slots of arcade machines, and so
bastards.
Like, they kind of become incredibly unplayable. But
I mean, yeah.
But yeah,
cycling
anyway.
back to Tekken 8, but
absolutely,
you know.
Yeah. I hope they have an arcade version. You know, maybe I could start a meetup here in a local for Tekken 8. That would be really fun.
Cool.
Yeah. But anyway, so
gameplay.
Everything's
fucked. I'm just gonna say everything's like just messed up. It's the Wild West. Nobody we're still learning how to play Tekken 8, so it's like hard to say who's actually super good.
Yes.
And who's bad. There's like that meme Chikarin list that's been floating around. It's fake. Don't fall for it. It's bait.
What's the meme list? Is it just? I need to see this.
Somebody made a tier list. That was by Chikarin.
Yeah.
And you know, it has like all these crazy characters in S tier, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And then like they have like Leo and like C tier and stuff like that. And they've separated like Kuma and Panda. It's all fake and all messed up. People are believing it. They shouldn't. Even the post like after like the tweet was like, "Hey, this is fake. I can't believe people fell for it." People are still retweeting the damn thing like, "Oh my god, Chikarin's tier list is crazy." But people just don't know how to play the game yet. It's too early for tier lists. We can kind of see who like the good ass characters are, but we don't know how truly good they are.
Yes.
Because like I said, we're still learning the heat system. We're still optimizing the heat system. And it's changed the gameplay fairly drastically.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Yeah. Yep. I can definitely see where you're coming from. I also concede like how it's a little bit like I don't know, catastrophizing. I guess that's the therapy word I'm going to use for this, because we are Tekken players, right? So we pay attention to all of the bad things that we have to pay attention to, because in the wild you're gonna be like, oh man, Jack 7, Jack 8, sorry, I have to worry about his
Jack
back
8,
1+2.
He's gonna break my damn ankles and then back 1+2 rage art me, and I'm just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, that's not Jack 8, that's the Juggernaut. And
for real.
He
stole moves from Gigas, so he just flexes on you and then punches you with armor, and it's just, man.
Yeah, and he stole War Machine's like cannon. So like now he like has a blaster. It's wild.
Blast your ass. Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense that, you know, we would kind of like be like, oh man, this game is rough around the edges, and
it is.
But I still, like, even though I will say this, with that, even knowing all of these things, I'm still excited to play the game. I still am having a blast. You know, we'll make it sound bad, you know, but I don't think either of us are gonna stop playing it because of, you know, all of the BS anytime soon.
We'll adapt at some point.
Or
not.
Or just maybe, bitch a lot.
I mean, we've already gotten a balance patch, right? Like Dragunov was doing these egregious full crouch, down forward 1-4 mixes into his freaking sneak 4 or whatever.
That's techable, by the way. That's techable.
Sneak 1.
Yeah.
Well, now it like pushes you back, so like the neutral resets instead of Dragunov just getting to loop that nonsense. You could step the 4 follow-up, but it seemed a little spotty when I was like stepping it. Like sometimes I would step it, other times it would hit me. It's like it's probably a skill issue on my side, but now I don't have to worry about it.
Everything goes back to skill issues.
Apparently Namco agreed. They're like, yeah, this is bullshit. People shouldn't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
However, at the wall, you still have to deal with that. There's nowhere to push you back.
Yeah. Okay, so going into the Tekken 8 story mode, I need to preface that we are going to have
story mode.
Spoilers.
Massive spoilers ahead.
Massive spoilers.
Massive spoilers ahead.
So, I'm going to count to 3.
Push moving.
No, you know what? I'm going to count down from 5, and then we're going to go into the game. Spoilers and all. 5.
Spoilers
4,
and all.
3, 2, 1. So, Quinn, what did you think of Tekken 8's story mode?
Okay, so I think the story mode was good up to a point. And then it was really awful. And then afterwards, it was good again.
Yes.
But maybe a little elongated for my taste. So like, as soon as I was in space playing as Angel Jin against Devil Kazuya's super form, I was just like, this is the stupidest anime bullshit I've seen in most games. Like, any game I've played, pretty much. I was so tuned out to what was going on, and it just kept going. It kept going. I was like, all right, surely this is like the end almost. But then it went for another 3 chapters somehow.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, okay, yeah, no, I guess we're just still going. And then the Tekken Force stuff was forced. It was horrendous. I don't know if anyone even tested how it controlled, because oh my god, it was hard.
Yes.
I played through the story on hard difficulty, right? Because I was like, sure, why not? I'll do it. Let's do it. And it was pretty easy for the most part, up until like some boss fights, like Azazel or the whole Tekken Force mode in general.
Yes.
And just it felt so disengaging, right? Because for the most part, it was grounded for like a Tekken game, and then you went to space.
Yes. Well,
everything before going to space was pretty cool. Rest in peace, Claudio, and all that.
Rip.
Man's got lasered.
Got vaporized, dude.
Yeah, for real.
Not even the power of a Quincy could help him.
For real. That was all cool though. I really enjoyed like all the team up, like to fight Azazel powered Kazuya. Like that was all super sick. And like the Claudio giant arrow to like weaken him. But it just goes off the rails so hard, like after that it was hard for me to keep playing. I was so bored, I guess.
Wow. Because
I was just disengaged.
Like,
especially when I kept dying in Tekken Force. I was just like,
yeah.
Oh, God, this is such a cheap ass fucking mode. Like, you get hit once, and it was just over. You're just stun locked. They're just like, just like stun locking the crap out of you. And you're trying to change targets, and you're just like,
yeah.
Targeting basically. Like,
that is not fun to play on an arcade stick. That
was not designed for the arcade button layout at all. This was played with a controller is what it was saying. But even I tried playing with a controller a little bit after I had beat it again, and I was like, this is still clunky as hell on a controller. It's just poorly done. Like I went from hype to disappointment really fast. And I get I'm jumping around a lot, but like my opinions are just so mixed about the story mode. I can't help but jump around. Like Reina as the most two-faced ass character in the story.
She was like painfully like, bro, I just want to point out
she was
can we just
wild.
talk about how like she's like, you use the Mishima style. It's like, yeah, man, I watched a tutorial on YouTube, and it's just like, what the fuck? You're gonna buy that?
Learn that shit on like TikTok or like YouTube or something. All the kids are doing it. And then inner monologue, haha, I have deceived him. He fully bought that, like kind of.
It is wild how Jin just bought it. He's like, oh yeah, I just watched some self-defense videos on YouTube. And it's like, really, Jin? And then it just moves on. He doesn't address it. It just moves to the next scene. And it's like, explanation, okay, he bought it, good. Jin's a dumb motherfucker.
And then 80% of the story mode is just shitting on Jin. Like,
Oh, I mean,
man, Jin, you sure have gotten weak, you fucking dog.
Yeah.
Wow, I used to fight you and be afraid. That's weird. Now I feel nothing.
Well, I mean,
like, I don't know. It's just like, oh, and you play as like gimped Jin. They thought it was a good idea to just remove like half of his move list when you're playing him. So you're like trying to do something. You're like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that either. Oh, I can't do that.
Well, you see, that's the thing. It's about the story of Tekken 8 is about Jin's character development.
I understand.
Thematically,
it's also about you forgiving Jin for starting a world war and killing millions.
World War III. He's a flawed guy.
I love how they just brushed it off. They just brushed it off. They're like, that's fine. It was just like a few million, whatever, a little world war. It's fine.
It was just a phase.
This is our hero. Look how good he is now. What a good boy.
Listen, guys, Lars didn't work out. Okay, we had to back down from Jin being a war criminal. Okay, so
instead Kazuya goes insane.
Yes, he goes like uncharacteristically like, powers everything all of a sudden.
Yeah. Some anime bullshit.
It was super anime, and you know what? Honestly, I liked it. I had a blast playing it. I had
fun for the most part.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, it was a fun story. Like very just popcorn. You just chill back and like look at all the pretty shit happening. Like, oh, that was freaking wild. But you just get to like the end and you're just, it's only like a 3-hour story, but it feels like you've been playing for like 5 or 6 and you're just like,
I think it took me 5 hours to beat the game.
Really? Okay. Yeah,
Maybe
no,
4.
I knocked it out in about like 2.5 or 3 hour stream.
I think it was because I got there are definitely difficulty spikes, and I did play it on the hardest difficulty.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, same.
And so like, yeah, you are a little kneecapped by your like move list in general. And not only that, but I think the more frustrating part is as you're playing, they add more moves, and then they also change your play style with Jin. So like they change it like 7 times.
Moves away. So
yeah.
By the end, you're just like, I'm Asuka now, Asuka Jin.
So to kind of like recap though, for people that don't know, the story of Tekken 8 is essentially Jin's redemption arc or his character development, because a lot of Tekken 4, 5, and 6, and even 7 is Jin sort of being jaded by his past and not able to get over the fact that he is a devil, or that he has sort of been a bad person or whatever it may be. And so this explores the idea of like Jin coming to terms with that, and having self-acceptance and realizing that he's not a perfect person, and sort of with that thematically he gains control of his devil powers and
breaks the chains,
not literally and figuratively. So so it's I actually thought it was like really well done in that terms of like how they handled. It's the most character development Tekken has ever had, for sure, in a character.
I enjoyed it way more than Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Yeah. So it's got that going for it.
It is the best told story in Tekken, period. It's really good. I enjoyed it. The only kind of problems are like gameplay ones, but thematically speaking, I enjoyed. Like, I'm okay with the ending with them doing the whole like Devil May Cry stuff. Like, essentially, it just becomes in a way like over the top Devil May Cry battle fights in space, or even like Asura's Wrath in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like that kind of
But then
craziness.
after that, you're just thrust back to, oh, we both lost our devil powers or our angel powers, and now we're just brawling.
Yes, because because they have to answer the thing of like, well, if Kazuya if they didn't have the devil powers, who would have won? And then they answer that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
an alternate ending for that, by the way.
There is. I heard a friend of mine had actually lost to Kazuya, and so he got the bad ending.
You can't lose the first time. You have to run it back.
Oh, well, he was saying that he didn't get the true ending.
It just keeps resetting on your first playthrough. You have to go back into like the story mode's chapter selector and replay the chapter in order to get the alternate ending.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I got the true ending though.
Your friend is full of crap.
Hey man, I don't know. I got the true ending. The one where
that's Jin wins.
Jin wins, which I mean.
Jin wins.
Yeah.
Winner, Jin or dinner.
So you have to be very comfortable with playing multiple different characters. Obviously, you have to learn Jin. But even when you do learn Jin, you also have to realize that you're going to have to relearn him every time he learns new moves and or when he switches styles.
In the final fight, he plays himself. In the final fight, he plays himself. I was just standing there. I wasn't even making an input, and like Kazuya go to punch me, and like parried it. Like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Parried it.
Which is another kind of like thematic thing that is really cool. Is there's layers of self-acceptance that Jin has, where essentially there's an arc where he loses his ability to have the devil gene, like his devil powers.
Yeah.
Because
he can't use his devil powers.
He basically, it's like Spider-Man 2, right? Where he's just sort of like, he has like a mental breakdown, and he doesn't forgive himself for starting World War III, as he shouldn't, and then has to.
Zhao, you did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. She was always Team Jin, but he,
minor genocide.
He doesn't accept himself for starting World War III, and though I wish they had gone into why that was a little bit more. Like, what was the moment that he's like, yeah, I'm mad at myself.
We as an audience are just supposed to accept that, oh, that was old Jin, this is new Jin. Don't worry about it.
There's a lot of just wave handing,
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
I felt like that was cheap, and almost that Jin had a undeserved redemption.
Yes, to an extent, I would agree with that. I mean, like, if they had done a little bit more explaining, I could see how you might accept that then. But I mean, they only had so much time to tell a story, and I think they. So him going from he loses his devil powers and sort of unable to fight Kazuya into realizing I have to accept myself for who I am to be able to beat my father, who is more powerful than I am, who has kind of already accepted,
more powerful than a god,
accepted the Lord Satan into his life. So they
wild.
Yeah. And so, then he has to go through an arc of trying to regain that power and, battling his literal demon of his inner demon to gaining control of it, to sort of, having them work together. It actually reminded me of the Revice a lot, in a way. Like, as I was playing,
really?
Yeah, I was like, because
Kamen Rider in my Tekken?
Yeah, Kamen Rider Revice, because like as I was playing it, I was like, remember, like a large part of that story is accepting yourself for who you are, essentially all of your flaws.
Yeah, and that your inner demons.
Quite literally.
Such.
Yeah, it's a literal, and so
they take that very literal.
Yeah. So then, he sort of gains control of the devil powers, and they work together, harmonizing that. And it's not until after the devil battle where Jin, accepts, his Kazama, like his mother's like fighting style, that he becomes purified and gets angel powers and all of that.
Yeah, angel powers.
Which
he looked
also,
so fucking stupid. I hated how Angel Jin looked. I know some people are just like, oh, that design is so cool. I couldn't stand it.
Bro, I actually thought it was really cool because here's the thing. I like Saint Seiya.
Stand it.
I like Saint Seiya.
I mean, I like Saint Seiya too.
Saint Seiya's dope. Okay. And
Saint Seiya is dope. Watch Saint Seiya. Give more Saint Seiya.
Yes.
Anyway. Yeah.
And you know what? The first thing that I thought of when I saw the costume, I was like, this is a Saint Seiya character. We're playing Saint Seiya right now. We're literally battling battling gods in space.
Saint Seiya character.
No, I just thought it was like armor. It literally reminded me of like
I guess.
They both were just straight up armored up and like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and then you had to learn another character during that. Because all of his moves changed in Angel form.
Yeah. So this is like what we're talking about, where the controls kind of become easy mode, and like then you start doing instant electrics and things like that.
Oh.
And like all of these combos start like,
you press 2 and electric comes out. You're like, oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, we'll test your patience type moments in this game because of how much it just sort of like, oh, well, things are different now, and they don't explain why that is. So gameplay wise, it can be very frustrating. And
bosses are super cheap too.
Bosses are super cheap.
Keeping in that fighting game tradition of bullshit.
Yeah, like when you have, at one point when you have to fight as Devil Jin, you have to fight Jin. When he kept like doing the get off me move with the chains, like every time you would hit him, and he would gain health back. Yeah, that was frustrating.
Just gains like a quarter of his bar. You're like, you motherfucker. I was almost done.
Yeah, and it definitely could be very tedious, especially if playing on hard mode. But if you're playing Tekken for the first time, honestly, you just want to enjoy the story, I would say play it on easy. From what I've heard, if you play it on hard mode, though, I think you do unlock some things, like maybe costumes or something.
It's pointless stuff. You get like a health bar and a title or something like that.
I mean, it's up to
nothing.
you whether you decide if that's worth it or not. Personally,
that's fair. It's fair.
I wanted to be challenged.
Everyone has like something else they enjoy.
I wanted to be challenged because I have played a lot of Tekken AI, like when the demo was out, and the AI really didn't, like, I put it on the hardest difficulty and it didn't challenge me. So I was like, I knew that like I was going to be able to run through the story mode relatively easily. But little did I know that there was going to be magical powers that were going to fuck with me.
I mean, freaking Azazel.
Yes.
He just reads your buttons.
He does.
He reads your damn buttons. So like, I'll go to like jab him, and he's just like, no, power crush. And I'm like, you shithead.
Yeah, that should be prefaced. This does have the like a little bit of SNK boss syndrome, where characters do read your buttons as you're pressing them. There's also moments
really like to read the buttons
where you have to get hit by a rage art to be able to transition to the next round of a fight, which is a little strange. It happened with Leroy.
I don't recall. Oh yeah, no, I did. Yeah, okay, I did eat the rage art there. Yeah. There's also times where you'll just throw out a rage art and the opponent just doesn't block for the rule of cool.
They never block rage arts. I've never had any of them block the rage art.
They just don't block for the rule of cool. They're like, yeah, no, let that shit run, King. You got this.
Not to mention they randomly take away rage arts, like in fights. Like there's some rounds you just won't have a rage art. Like, so the rules and like play style are just so inconsistent from like chapter to chapter to round that it can be definitely frustrating for someone who's new to the series.
And I hope you know how to play 8+ characters.
Yeah.
Including characters that haven't existed.
Yes, like the
various forms of Jin.
Yes, yeah. And you know, it does ask a lot of the player. So it in some ways it's good because it'll force you to learn. But if you're new to fighting games, you might feel like you're bad at it, and that's not true. You need to kind of.
When it switched me to Reina against Devil Kazuya, I was like, what the hell do I do? I'm just like hitting buttons. I'm like, what does this character even do? I was so lost in that fight that he beat the shit out of me, like for at least 15 minutes straight of him just whooping my ass.
Yeah. And I will also say that, like, I can see why you would get bored too, because you fight Kazuya for, I swear to God, I played him for like an hour and a half. You fight Kazuya straight.
You fight so long. It just keeps going. Like, oh yeah, but what if I use my true strength? And it's like, yeah, dude, you do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like, oh yeah, but here's my real power, and it's like it can get very annoying. And
you thought that was my real power? This is my real power.
They also don't let you skip cutscenes, which is very annoying.
Oh yeah, like if you have to redo a fight.
Yes, you can't just press start and retry the fight. You have to wait to lose, and then because you realize you're probably
hold
gonna
that cutscene.
Yeah, you gotta hold those cutscenes again. So it can be very frustrating.
Yeah. At least the checkpoint system's generous. Like when you get into like phase 2 or phase 3 of the fight, usually you will start again at that phase with some exceptions.
Yeah, there's a few times where like they'll just start you at the very beginning of the phases of the fight.
There are, like Reina.
Yeah.
Reina versus Devil Kazuya, it just starts you right at the beginning. Like, nope, I just have to do this again. He just knocks me full screen, and
I didn't struggle with that as much as I struggled with I think I struggled with the Tekken Force the most. That was my the part I hated the most was the Tekken Force, because as you were playing through,
I spent a while on Tekken Force.
Like, okay,
when you played as like King.
Yes.
When you play as King in Tekken Force.
Yes, that was
everything
horrible.
King's like, I'm gonna fight this whole army, and I'm like, are you though, King? I think I'm gonna spam Heat Smash and Rage Arts and hope for the best.
Yeah, because King, like, I started playing King, and it's like, okay, and no one will get off me. I need space to do grapples and kicks, and you kind of realize that King's fighting style would not really work that well in like a group, like getting ganged up on. But then
they've added like a bunch of like different shooting characters, and they've added like the super elite troopers, and then the super elite jacks, and you're just like, okay, yeah, sure.
And then you die because somebody's just punching you in the back of the head as you're like punching someone. You're basically just getting jumped the video game.
I beat that literally by spamming Heat Smash. Like, it gave me access to it. I'm like, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it.
That's what I had to do.
I seeked out like any of the jacks because that seemed to like give me the most like progress towards the next part. Heat Smash, Heat Smash, Heat Smash, Heat Smash.
Actually, I found that if you fight the elite guards first, those guys will actually die faster, so you lessen the life bar, the heat. There's like a battle gauge. That's right?
Fair.
Like there's like you're winning the battle in this area, but anyway, why didn't
you go through too many areas? Too many areas.
But they kind of want you to be able to play a plethora of characters, and they do somewhat of a decent job of that. Like during the tournament mode, that was handled really well. Like it's like choose who you want to win this tournament.
That was cool.
And you play like a lot of different characters.
But what if I wanted Leroy to beat Jin?
Yes, that someone had said in my chat while I was streaming. They're like, pick Leroy if you can and win the fight, and I'm like, I don't think they're gonna let me do that, buddy.
I wish I could. I didn't either. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to pick Leroy against Jin. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And as expected, it didn't happen.
But
it was fun to Death Fist thing as Paul though, because the computer just didn't block it. You're just like, and they just ate it.
Yeah. And I mean, but overall, like, I think, the thematics of the story were great, just maybe not the gameplay execution. It felt very sort of crammed in, and sort of just like, we got to get as much in here as we can. Very cool, but pacing wise, all over the place.
I still think it's like the best fighting game story though. Like that's like such a low bar, right? But at the same time, it passed that bar, and it's probably the best fighting game story.
It is honestly up there
because they actually tried.
Yes, they really did. They didn't go full clown shoes with it, and they actually tried.
Like MK1.
Yes, like MK. Well, I mean, I liked MK1, but I don't.
I liked it, but it wasn't good. Like
I thought it was good. I liked it.
It wasn't
personally.
complete either. I had so many instances of where it'd be like, insert MK11 Sindel quote or whatever. And like, oh interesting. Right. I don't know how that got past testing, but it's cool.
So, I mean, I would agree with you. I do think it is up there with Mortal Kombat stories, like in terms of telling it. Do I think it could have been paced better? I think that's the one thing MK does better. Like story pacing, it could have been to that level, but it really wasn't there. I did think that Jin's like character development was the best in the series we've ever seen, and in that last fight with Kazuya that you have, the idea of him going from his old styles and accepting himself for who he was. Like accepting his Mishima style, his Kazama style of like passive, and then his like his like, and then it kind of was like a little bit of a callback to Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5, and and so on and so forth, and even Devil Jin and that stuff too. Which the Kazama style is cool because it also like you never got to see him training with his mother and play that fighting style that he had.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Heihachi forced him to forget it and use the Mishima style.
Yeah.
And then even there's
another big point in the story's favor.
Yeah.
Is how much other characters also got to shine and have their own like little developments. Like usually our Tekken stories are just like laser focused on like one character, two characters. But this time, you had like Leo doing stuff, King doing stuff, Paul doing stuff. Like all the characters in the story were able to have like their own moments to like shine and get things done, which was very refreshing.
Absolutely. Also, I will say that like something that I was a little upset about was how little Jun actually was a part of the story. Like,
I'm not sure if she actually exists.
She does. She does exist.
Does she? Okay.
She does. There's an explanation.
We saw her foot. We saw her foot at the end of the Kazuya Jin fight.
Okay, so if you haven't done so yet, I recommend that you go and play her side story. It's a cutscene, so it explains what happened to her. But the problem is that should have been a part of the story.
Okay,
but I don't for whatever reason I think it was cut. She was sort of like being sold, and it's like watching a movie trailer, right? Like if you watch the Tekken 8 movie trailer, you would say to me, "Oh yeah, Jun's a part of the story. She's coming back."
Yeah.
That didn't really happen. There wasn't a moment where it's like, I'm alive. No, I think they're saving that for Tekken 9. Whatever.
Tekken 9.
I'm telling you.
Apparently we're going to get DLC for the story. So
someone had said that. Yeah, I don't.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that is actually really cool. Which further kind of confirms, hey, look, we wanted to add this, but we didn't have time to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think she was an interesting addition to the story. There's still more hand waving. Like it explains that she actually was hibernating in in Yakushima where Jin he starts to hibernate, and then he goes through like his spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. That same thing happened to her.
Subconscious.
Yeah. That happens to her. So essentially she is hibernating from the time where she battled Ogre. That is what they're going with. I don't know.
It's been a minute since that happened, but all right, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Harada just wants you to believe that is and so like I said, there's a lot of just like, all right, let's roll with it type moments going on here, but
that's crazy. All right.
So
I'll have to play that side story.
I mean, also, you know, the Reina side story as well, but is there any sort of like really story points that you want to bring up as well? Like, I feel like I've been talking way too much right now.
No, not really. Like, I thought the story was good. I liked characters having moments and stuff like that. It was all really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And other than the pacing, the story was solid. And space, didn't like space.
Yeah,
I'll never give in on that. I thought that was dumb as hell.
That's fine. I mean, I'm cool with the, you know, I love the anime, like, I've always loved Tekken's anime aspect to it, like it just going full crazy. I love Devil May Cry. Yeah. I like Saint Seiya, you know, these things. And so I want to see giant, stupid space battles, you know.
I can see why they highlighted certain parts of the story the way they did. Mm-hmm. Like in every trailer, they were highlighting the beginning of the story with like Jin versus Kazuya in the city, which was really cool. And then they were also highlighting the final battle at the end.
Yeah.
Where they're both exhausted. Actual gameplay footage, by the way. Wink.
I think that was
still
funny.
I feel a little bait and switched by that. Mm-hmm. I'm still a little salty that it was just like story nonsense.
Cutscenes.
Whatever.
The very first footage we would get of the game was the very last battle. Like, that is crazy.
I kind of had a hunch that it was. I'm not gonna lie. Because like they both look exhausted in that, and like Kazuya didn't have like any of his devilisms or anything like that. People pointed out. I was like, oh yeah, no, you're right. And they were just brawling. It seemed like a very end of a story kind of fight.
Mm-hmm. I also want to take a moment to kind of gloat a little bit, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, gloat away.
I made some predictions before the game came out, and most of them came true. And
most of mine did too.
Yeah. I want to say that the character development I had, you know, read on Jin's trailer. I have a video on that on TikTok. I had, you know, made a prediction of like what these things mean in his play style, and most all of it was true. Most all of that like happened. Mm-hmm. Like his fighting style was a sign of his you know, his character development, and which I loved. And so like as soon as I saw that, I was so happy. I was like, damn, I was able to read that.
Nailed it.
Also the idea of, you know, I mean, I had said some things like I thought like Jun was gonna come back and there was like an angelic aspect to it. I mean, that was kind of true, but like I was hoping that would be a bigger part of that story, man. I really did. I wish you actually had like been the crux of the story. Like
that would have been nice.
Okay, so here, how about this? Let me throw this idea at you.
One of my biggest guesses was wrong though. I thought Reina was gonna be the final boss.
Yeah, I thought so too, actually.
In a devil form, I thought Reina was going to be the final boss. I was like 99% sure that she had the devil gene in some capacity, which was, of course, confirmed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, nailed it, of course. But I honestly thought she would be like the final boss, which I guess she's still going to be, like, but maybe later, because at the end we see her in her devil form and she's the only one left with the devil powers.
Yes.
So she'll be a natural enemy of, you know, the world.
The world though, yeah.
Yeah, the world though.
So the I definitely don't like, I personally don't like Reina as a character.
I think she kind of sucks.
Very abrasive.
Yeah. She's
divisive.
Like, you could see right through her the whole time, and I wish they kind of did a little bit more of a better job to like conceal who she was.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of fun watching Jin kind of like piece stuff together, right? Like, oh, wait, she uses Mishima style. That's freaking weird.
I watched some YouTube videos, yeah.
Oh, never mind. Okay, that's fine.
All right, whatever, Reina. Moving on.
One of the newest TikTok trends, Mishima style.
Mishima style. Oh, I've seen that. Okay, so let me throw this idea at you. What if instead, to fix this story, what if Jin's revelation to become a better person was somehow brought on by Jun returning and sort of, you know, talking to him, and sort of so that way there wouldn't be as much guilt for letting his, you know, I think a part of the beginning of his journey was the guilt of letting his mother die, right? That would make sense, right? That's what kind of drove him to the Mishimas, right?
But I really liked the dynamic between himself and his devil self in like the subconscious, where it's like, hey, you're nothing without me, etc. And I felt like that created like a really strong dynamic to help Jin grow, because at the end the devil's just like, yeah, I was trying to make you stronger so that you could actually push forward.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a fun trope. It's a fun trope. It's in a lot of stuff, but it's still just a fun trope.
Yes.
And I don't know if adding June into the mix would have been as gratifying, I guess.
I'm just saying, like, she wouldn't be like as like all along the journey with him. I'm saying like it would have started him down that journey. And so he would still have to, you know, come to terms with his devil powers. I'm saying that, like, also I think a better explanation for like the World War III thing could be like let's say the devil gene changes your personality. It's been shown. It
does, apparently.
It does. And so it's shown that like when Jin was the devil, like he didn't have control over what he was doing. What if when you sort of accept that part of you, it makes you more aggressive, it makes you like, you know, he wasn't in control, so he wasn't making those decisions that were, you know, started the World War III situation. See, I think that would have been more of a forgiving situation where he still would have had to combat the devil within. You know what I mean? And would have been a better explanation.
Oh, that makes sense. It would have done like something to like be less than, hey, Jin's good now, get over it.
Yes.
You accept him. That's how it is. He's your hero.
Yeah, and
and Lars is here too.
Also, Lars, can we say it? Lars is a badass. Like,
Lars is kind of badass.
He was able to just stomp or like fight Devil Kazuya on his own and hold him off with no help whatsoever. Like, no problem. I don't know if he necessarily
Super Devil.
Till Super Devil, yeah.
Super Devil was a lost ass cause.
Yeah, and I also kind of didn't. What do you think about like the devil, like Azazel being like the creator of the devils in general? They were like servants to him. I think that's kind of dumb.
I actually liked it because it gave Azazel more like story relevance, right? Before it's just like, we're fighting Azazel, right? Azazel's an asshole. Okay, cool. Why? And then now, like, we learn, like Azazel gave people the devil gene. They are his servants. And so it gave more agency, I guess, to Azazel and the story as a whole.
Yeah.
And also, still kind of weird how, like, Kazuya was able to beat a god. But whatever.
Well, you see, once you're a Mishima, you're instantly a badass. I just want to put that out there. Like,
It's true.
Okay, and also, like, this just goes to show how much of a badass Heihachi is, because, dude...
He fought that shit.
Not only did he fight that shit on multiple occasions, he fought, like, demons, but he was also thrown down a volcano and didn't have to make a deal with a devil to survive. Dude just climbed back on volition, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Didn't climb back the second time, though.
Well, no, but like, odds were stacked against him, and Lars sort of is the same way. Also, the aspect of Reina being younger than Jin, but somehow still having that does not make sense. That does not make sense.
Nothing makes sense with Reina. Nothing makes sense. Did, like, Heihachi have a type? Devil Gene people? Like, was that his type?
So the only theory that I have on this situation is that she is a clone. She was made in a tube the same way that Steve Fox was.
Yeah, but what's she a clone of?
She must have been made by the DNA of, like, either Kazuya or, you know, that's the only explanation.
She doesn't really have any, like, Kazuya-isms, though.
No, I mean, like, maybe Heihachi and Kasumi somehow. But I mean, that also doesn't fully track, because you know,
her age,
but also like, Heihachi was just rejecting her instantly as soon as he found out they were devils. So there's a lot of, like, gray area.
I still think Reina's a cool character, but apparently, you know, I'm definitely not in the minority on that, based on the character popularity polls.
Yeah, for sure.
Where Reina has a very firm victory.
I mean, she's super cute, but I mean, like, other than that, I don't prefer her gameplay style.
She's cute, and she talks a lot of shit. So people are like, wow, my wife, I can fix her.
My waifu. I can fix her, though.
And if I can't fix her, she can dom me.
So, what do you think about the future of the Tekken story? Like, what do you think 9 is going to be about?
I mean, if we don't get DLC where Devil Reina's doing stuff, then Tekken 9's probably going to be about fighting off Devil Reina.
Yep, I could agree with that.
Like, I don't see anywhere else it can really go. Like, you know, Jin and his squad now, apparently,
the Tekken
will
Force,
all have to, you know, join forces once more and defeat the devil again.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
I think we could definitely see...
Reminds me of JoJo.
It does. Yeah. I think we could definitely see...
He's always a damn arrow user.
Oh my god. We could definitely see Kazuya having a redemption arc next.
Tag 3? Noble, we're not getting a Tag 3. Tag 2 nearly killed the entire franchise.
We could see Kazuya having a redemption arc. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think Kazuya is gonna be taken by Jun. He's gonna have a redemption arc, and then he's gonna have to join forces with Jin to fight Reina, because that's the only way they could survive.
That'd be pretty wild. Father son electric.
Father son electric. There was a moment where I thought there was gonna be a mother son, like, Kamehameha, but it never happened.
We'll cleanse the shit out of you.
But yeah, man. If you were to give, I also want to preface this. We didn't go over arcade quests at all, Tekken Ball.
Arcade Quest is a glorified tutorial. All right, it's a tutorial. That's how it is. It's designed as a tutorial. It's fun, and it evokes, like, these feelings of, man, this is what it was like to play in the arcades, which is neat. But it's still just a tutorial. Like, you're going through, it's like, hey, try Heat Smash. You know, those are pretty cool. And you're like, oh yeah, I should try Heat Smash.
Yeah.
Or, like, it'll teach you, like, some basic combos, or, like, how to whiff punish and stuff like that. So, like, at its core, it is just like a fairly long-ish tutorial. So I think Arcade Quest only ends up being about 2 hours or something like that.
Oh, I didn't even know.
You just throw it down.
Honestly, it feels more of a chore. I don't think either of us touched Tekken Ball.
No. I watched some Tekken Ball. I watched Maximilian Dude play some Tekken Ball. I was like, yep, that's Tekken Ball.
But
I have no desire to interact in the lounge at all. Like, I don't care about my avatar.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
I thought that was going to be a bigger part of the lobby system, but I'm kind of glad it isn't.
I'm glad it's not.
Yeah, I'm tired of fighting game lobbies with arcade cabinets, and
I'm very happy with the lobby that we have.
Yes, just give me a lobby with some rooms, and we're good to go.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you were to give Tekken 8 a rating of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Honestly, I'm gonna give it an 8.
God damn it.
Yeah.
How do I give?
Because, like, the network problems, my issues with the story and some of the characters, my issues with the current balancing of the heat system, as well as the, I guess, general optimizations of the game. I just have to kind of like keep pulling it down. I'm like, well, this could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
This could have been a lot better. This could have been a lot better. And I've just kind of like ended up at an 8. It's still a really good game with an amazing potential to grow.
Yep.
And I think it could easily become like a 9 or a 9.5. I don't really believe in a 10 for the most part, but yeah. I think it could end up being like a 9.5. I think we could just watch this game grow for years to come.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Harada wants to do, is just keep this game going again for like another 8 years or something, and just really go for it, because he saw how devoted the Tekken 7 like fan base was, because he kept pushing out content for it.
Yeah. And I think I had like a heated discussion with August and Pancake Jams while we were playing MK1. I don't think Tekken 8 is tore up from the floor up. Okay? Like MK1 is tore up from the floor up. So it has a strong base, and you could see the potential in it. You would not be battling the system as much as you would in some other fighting games. It can be corrected, okay?
Yeah.
So I definitely can see what you're saying about like the gameplay improving. It's not forever screwed. It has a great system. At least, you know, potentially.
Has a really good skeleton. Like this, it's a extremely firm foundation that, you know, you can build a nice skyscraper or something off of. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So you're saying an 8 for sure for you?
I'm saying like an 8. Yeah. I was thinking like an 8.5, but the more we talked about like the issues with the Tekken Force and the various issues with the optimizations and such like that, I was just like, yeah, no, I gotta move it down a little bit.
I almost feel like we should rate the story mode separately. I almost feel like we should rate the story mode separately. But
that's fair. But it's also part of the whole package.
That's true. Fair enough. I would honestly, I think I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I think it's a good game. I think I enjoyed the story mode more, even you know, despite its flaws, which it has many. I think the gameplay is great. I play this game literally almost every day or every other day. It's great. I think it's the best fighting game out there right now. Oh, that's a tall statement, but
it is.
I think it's up there with Street Fighter. I think it's up there with Street Fighter 6 as one of the best fighting games out there right now.
I think right now it beats Street Fighter 6 because Street Fighter 6 currently has just devolved into Drive Rush 6.
Yes.
And it's rough. I tried to play it again. The meta's
not fun.
Meta is not fun. You take your turn, you drive rush them. They take their turn, they drive rush you.
Yeah.
Maybe you throw out an impact. I don't know. It's just.
I don't think I got to say this on the podcast.
It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, man.
I don't think I got to say this on the podcast, but I was playing people who were going from parrying to drive rush to drive impact in the same, like, one after another. I absolutely.
It's a strong combination.
That is not fun. Okay, I grew up in. Well, I need the game to have footsies. Okay, I feel like a lot of times I don't actually get to play that because of these things. Like, I'm too old school for that, man. I play Street Fighter 2. Okay, I want to be able to forward fierce you in the face with Guile's heavy punch, right? I want that. But I feel like a lot of Street Fighter 6 kind of voids that altogether. Whereas I feel like Tekken 8 has a better balance of sort of not letting you go off the chains with your meter. It's a little bit more drawn back. Yeah. It's
still very powerful.
Yeah, it's still powerful, but it's
definitely pulled. Not the only thing you're doing.
Yeah, you're not chained to your heat meter. It's a part of your gameplay. It's a part of your kit, but it's not like everything for damage or whatever. But yeah, so
I'll say something super controversial. I'd rather play Final Season Street Fighter 5 over Street Fighter 6 right now. Now that the Street Fighter 6 meta has settled into the way it did, I actually figured I've had more fun playing the end of Street Fighter 5. Probably because, I had so much time to grow and become a game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's a really weird feeling. I'm probably in the minority on it, of course, but it's just where I'm at. It's a bad feeling when I look at Street Fighter 6 and I'm like, almost like, why did I buy this? I actually don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah.
Why do I own this? It almost feels like a waste of money,
right?
Which is really sad. Really sad because it was fun in the beginning.
I kind of would. I think I almost would rather play KOF than that game in Street Fighter 6. But
that's fair. I'd rather learn KOF than play Street Fighter 6.
But anyway, this has been the Backlog Podcast number 66. We will be back next week. I think I had talked to Battle Athlete actually, and he'll probably come on and we will actually review Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. But stay tuned, guys.
Is that happening?
We're gonna try to make it happen next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to stop by for that, Quint, where can people find you?
Good stuff. Well, I've gone back to streaming more actively on twitch.tv/QuintessenceHD. I'm also on X/Twitter, QuintessenceHD. And that, of course, on the podcast. Now that we're off of our little hiatus and we've actually got stuff to do now and talk about.
Absolutely. Of course, you can find the backlog pretty much anywhere. YouTube, all the socials, all the same, TH3BACKLOG. And we are going to start having some more guests on here, probably more fighting games, and we're going to do some more interesting segments. But until then, guys, we will see you soon. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.
Later.
Oh, shit! And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway. But more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. The record shows I took the blow.